What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Subscribe if you are new. Today is really exciting because I wanted to kind of like pinpoint the books that have actually made a really positive impact on my life, and you know, books that have inspired me to either like change the way I was acting or just kind of set a different belief system. So let's talk about those books. Let's just jump into the list, shall we? The list is I'm not gonna rank them by like most profound to like least profound. I'm gonna put them in order of when I read them because I feel like that's much more, it makes sense I think in my head from like where it started to where it is now. First book I read that changed my life is actually on my Kindle, and it is The Secret. So The Secret actually introduced me to the law of attraction and kind of how to use the universe in your favor. And I know that sounds crazy if you've never heard of any of those terms before, but this book was actually recommended to me by my friend Erin, so shout out to Erin if you're watching. So I think I read this about 4 years ago. I was like 19 I think when I read this, and it was one of those books where I was reading it and I was like having those like aha moments, like what? Just because I had never learned about what the law of attraction was. I didn't even know I was like subconsciously already doing it. But yeah, if you want me to go into more detail about like the law of attraction, how I use it and all that stuff, I'll totally make a video on that because that is like something that I love to talk about and that I think about all the time. So yeah, that book I feel like just was like the gateway into all of these other books that I'm about to talk about. That one was like the Mac Daddy of these kind of like self-helpy books. Book number 2 that changed my life is You Are a Badass. This isn't actually the book. I don't know where my copy of the book went, but this one is just like all the quotes from all of her books that were really, let me see if I can find a good one for you guys. Actually, let's just go to a random page. I'm just gonna open up a random page. Okay, ready? There is no riskier risk than refusing to risk it all. So this book I feel like put everything that I learned from The Secret into a more like my language kind of, I mean, you can tell from the title like You Are a Badass. Her like language is like kind of like the way I talk, you know, the way we talk to our friends. When I was reading that book, it was kind of like the first time that I thought about like my own limiting beliefs and like what I thought about myself and how that reflected onto my own life, and kind of like how to change that, how I turned that around, and just kind of like recognizing your own worth in situations. And oh my god, it was just amazing. And like one of those books that I feel like every single like early 20 something should read, just because, you know, it just talks about like how to, you know, keep an optimistic mindset, which I feel like is so important, especially when the world is that's just something that you need, I feel like, to not get inside your own head. So highly recommend. Next book, Tiny Beautiful Things. I literally have read this over and over and over again, probably up to like, I want to say maybe 6 times. Just cause like, and like you can tell like how tethered it is, and I've highlighted the heck out of it because these stories are just beautiful. They will change your perspective on life and love. Oh, I like can't say enough good things about this book. When I read this, I was just like in awe of, first of all, how beautifully she writes, and second of all, just the stories that are within this book I feel like give you such good perspective on humans in general, and just kind of, you know, like heartbreak that everyone goes through in different ways. Oh my god, it was just amazing. And she gives such clear and like the kind of advice that you read it and you're like, wow, I need to read that again. I like literally love this book just for that reason alone. Just these quotes that let me read you one of my favorite quotes. I don't think I can find it. Wait, hold on. Okay, I can't find my favorite quote. Another quote that like stuck out to me was, be brave enough to break your own heart. She just gives the best advice. Like this one I feel like is like a guide just for life and love. Oh my god, I literally can't say enough good things about this book. Like I wish, like if you guys take away anything from this video, I hope you read this book. Let's talk about Daring Greatly. This book is actually kind of a recent read. I read this probably in like December of this year. Brené Brown, I feel like, does a great job of intertwining her research with her real life experiences. And that's something that I love because it's not only rooted in her own life and like advice that she can give from just life experience, but also she is so educated in the subjects that she talks about. And so this book surrounds the idea around like, you know, vulnerability and shame and, you know, how to get over feeling like you're never enough. And oh my God, it is just so good. I feel like this book kind of taught me how it's never a bad thing to be vulnerable, and it's almost like a strength to be comfortable talking about your feelings and be comfortable talking about things that make you uncomfortable and just being more open with people. You know, I think that that is a skill that everyone should, I think, at least read. And, you know, like when we put those walls up around ourselves, the only person that it's really hurting is us. I highly recommend reading this book too. I mean, obviously I'm gonna recommend any of these books that I feel like have changed my life, so I feel like that's a given. All right. Last but not least, The Success Principles. This book I feel like is more towards your career and work and basically just like getting to where you want to be. But I'm not gonna lie, he does talk about the law of attraction, vision boards. This is like one of those books that I feel like I'm constantly drawn to. One thing that I liked that I took away from this book is how to not let other people's opinions of you influence your own perception of who you are, which I feel like is so important, especially like in the age of social media, when I feel like especially like our generation thinks about kind of like what other people are thinking about us when it's not that deep. You know, I feel like no one's actually thinking about you as much as you think that they're thinking about you, which is true. So yeah, that's kind of like one of the huge takeaways I got from this book. And also just kind of how to not care about what people think of you. If you struggle with that, then I highly recommend reading this book. So yeah, those are my books, my 5 books that, that's 10, my 5 books that changed my life. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys, maybe this inspired you to pick up one of these books. And let me know in the comments what your most life-changing book that you've ever read is, or just your favorite book of all time. Let me know. I love any type of book recommendations. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Give us a thumbs up, comment down below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.